Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Very interesting article, very revealing. The statements made by Viktor Orban, the Prime Minister of Hungary, can be viewed and analyzed from so many angles and reveal so many, circumstances, situations, realities. Let me read you the article coming from Russia Today. It is from today, June 2nd, 2023. NATO member warns it will never fight Russia. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has vowed Budapest would never go to war with Moscow under the current administration. Now, I haven't heard any country saying such a thing so bluntly, and especially being a NATO member and a European Union member state. Hungarian Prime Minister Viktor Orban has pledged not to fight Russia or let the country get dragged into the Ukraine conflict as long as his government remains in power. The Prime Minister made the remarks on Friday during an interview with local Kossuth radio. Budapest sees the ongoing hostilities between Moscow and Kiev as a, and I'm quoting, close yet outside threat, Orban explained, and I'm quoting Orban. We are not involved in the war. Hungary is not at war with Russia and will not be for as long as this government is in place. Certainly not, end quote, the Prime Minister stated. Orban also slammed belligerent statements repeatedly made by, and I'm quoting, left-wing politicians, end quote, who have claimed their countries were at war, end quote, with Russia already. The Prime Minister did not, however, point to any specific examples of such statements. I can help with that, and that is Baerbock, the foreign minister, I would say, very immature foreign minister of used to be strong German nation, now is a weasel nation, unfortunately. It was degraded to that point. That's my assessment. And I can give you examples if asked. You say you want to know? Yeah, I made my point already. So Ms. Baerbock said it. She's on video and she said, we are at war. That's one of them, okay? Now, I don't know if she's left-wing. I think she's from the Green Party, if I remember correctly, which is a left party. Left, I think, leaning party. Not I think, I know. So let's go back to the article here. And I'm quoting. When left-wing politicians say that, and I'm quoting, we are at war. He said politicians, but that's the one that I know. I can't remember the other one, but anyway, I think it was Ursula, but I don't know, von der Leyen, but I can't remember exactly. I don't want to use her in any way. We are at war with Russia. While sitting at home in a comfortable armchair, they do not know what they are talking about. I agree, Orban. They have lost their minds. We are at war with Russia is a statement that no sane person can afford since World War II. Unlike fellow NATO and EU member states, Hungary has taken a neutral stance on the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. Well, the problem with the conflict is not between them, it's between Russia and another big fella, which began in February 2022. The country has refused to provide any military aid to Kiev and has even prohibited the flow of arms from third parties to Ukraine through its territory. The country has also been opposing the EU's anti-Russian sanctions, particularly those damaging its own vital interest. I think that should be for any sane person, of course. Namely, restrictions in the fields of conventional and nuclear energy. Budapest has consistently argued that the restriction failed to meet their proclaimed goals and were hurting the EU more than Russia. At the same time, Budapest has been providing humanitarian aid to Ukrainian civilians who have been impacted by the crisis. Hungary has also repeatedly called for settling the conflict through a diplomatic solution. So I consider Orban logical and sane. I consider the other ones weasels and insane. I don't think they are insane. They are delusional because they think they cannot be touched. That's what they think. They do not understand, or they don't want to see that there will be consequences. But they think those consequences will not reach them. That is the whole point with this so-called elites. They are making all kind of hanky-panky situations, create all kind of, and they think they will not be reached. For instance, I'm going to give you a straight example. The South Carolina Senator Lindsey. No, Lindsey Graham is a he. Okay, I don't know if I identify as a he, but hey. So Lindsey Graham, he's a senator of a small state as a population. I think he was voted, if I made a calculation of how many people showed up, about 4 million people, which is very good. All right, so Mr. Lindsey, he made a lot of statements, like Putin should be taken out on 2 occasions. Then he said that, kill Russians, you remember that one, and the best investment we'd ever made, another stupid statement. He called for all kind of stupid stuff because there's no negative consequences. Let's say, and I'm just giving you a scenario, an ugly scenario, but that's not the case with Russia, even though they say Russia will use Novichok or whatever to kill outspoken people around the world, but somehow they fail. They're not professional enough, like guys from Mossad or other. Anyway, they have to go for some training somewhere else. So anyway, if these guys would say that to someone who really can and would, based on the assessments of that person, he would not talk like that. But he's talking like that because he knows nobody will give about him. Nobody would gonna come and poison him or assassinate him like the Ukrainians did with civilians in Moscow. Remember Daria Dugina? What was she guilty of? She talked about certain things. They wanted to kill Alexander Dugin. That's an assassination. So and then you got the other one, Turchinsky, whatever his name was, in St. Petersburg. Remember with that bomb, Turchayev, something like that, Turchinsky, something like that. Remember that one? Who did that? Now if that, and I'm just talking about what other people did. Do you think these guys, I'm talking about he would be more, I'm not saying that should happen, but there's no consequences for this guy. Not even voted out of office. So he's going to talk shit. And the problem is that he, Lindsey, is a senator, one of the 100. Only 100 from this country. And he talks like that, with no consequences. So you have here Orban, who I think is very, very sane, very logical. And after all, he was voted by his own people. That's not by Brussels. So he's doing the bidding of his own people. Now I would like to know if, for instance, people in South Carolina would agree with what Lindsey Graham said. Let's assassinate this and let's assassinate that, kill this, do that. And if they are, well, maybe that's a different culture over there. I don't know. Things changed. Past tense, that's why it is changed. And not for the good, for the bad. But what can I say? This is the level, this is the people we are staying united with. So, Orban, they're not going to fight, but guess what? Those guys will try to fight him. His friends. He's not following orders. Insubordination has consequences. Remember? That's why Lindsey doesn't have any consequences, because he's not insubordinate. He's voting for military, he's with the military, with FBI, with CIA. He's safe. That's it. The rest will cover for him. Once you are with those 3 entities, I'm not going to talk about NSA or anything. NSA is over there too. But them too. He's supporting those guys. He's good. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.